Hello, I'm Robert Onahue from the Environmental Learning Research Centre at Rhodes University. And what I'm going to do here is to give you an overview of Indigenous knowledge practices and ESD, and looking at it from the point of view of ESD as a process of transformative learning and the place of Indigenous knowledge in this. So the topic is working with Indigenous heritage on action learning pathways to more just and sustainable futures. And the key questions and animated graphics in this presentation are used to explore Indigenous heritage practices and ESD in school curriculum settings, particularly in science education. Now, including heritage practices in subject teaching often leads to a distinction between Western knowledge and Indigenous knowledge. And what I want to do is to move beyond this and ask the question, can heritage and the SDGs inform learning actions towards more just and sustainable futures in a variety of subject teaching settings? And if we take a subject teaching setting, one of the key aspects is the disciplinary knowledge. And here, how do we include heritage and story? In other words, how can history and heritage inform learning actions in these disciplines? And heritage and the sciences, how are heritage and science connected? So that's on the knowledge side. Into pedagogy, expanding our pedagogy and also deepening pedagogy, ask the questions, how can we expand and deepen subject pedagogy for relevance and transformative learning? And then on to assessment, looking at, is conventional assessment relevant here? How can we work with ESD competences in our assessment and in our planning of learning? And how is significant learning assessed in a classroom subject teaching setting? And then we look at some topics. I've chosen two here as starting points: heritage food gardens and heritage foods. And here, what we look at is work with the Sustainable Development Goals, Izala, Ukukalesha, and then growing green plants, Imifino, and also planting trees and the Indigenous knowledge associated with these practices. Then on to the next round, also working with the SDGs on foods, Machewo, Amasi, Imifino, the green leafy vegetables, wild leafy vegetables in this case, and Gezatla, hand washing. So all of these topics can be taken up from a heritage point of view into the teaching of science or life orientation or a whole lot of variety of settings, enabling the children to see the knowledge in the world and in the heritage that they bring to learning in an African setting. And here are some of the references. The work on transformative model of ESD by Chikamori et al. From Japan. The work with Juan Carlos in Mexico on the inclusion of heritage. And then some recent work on trying to explore the marginalization of Indigenous knowledge and how we need to bring back the communicative dimensions into our learning. And the acknowledgements are the Indigenous scholars that have produced this knowledge over the years. And here what I'm centering on is an account in English, because all mother tongue, all Indigenous knowledge practices need to be in mother tongue. And that means that these orientating ideas, like many of these Indigenous scholars have discovered, they provoke and activate the actual real on-the-ground intergenerational knowledge that is in mother tongue as a starting point. Then the Fundisa for Change Indigenous Knowledge Working Group have produced and explored a lot of these ideas. And I've got online technical support from Previn and Vilma in the SST, Sustainability Starts with Teachers, and a lot of the artwork represented here is by Di Martin.